Hey, everybody. You know something as big has happened when you're on podcast number 2.
Podcast number 2 that puts us in like the top 20% at least, right? And I think we might even have a super cool jingle that just came before this. So,
oh, I know, yeah, we're extremely we've called in the podcast game, we've made it, I guess.
Yeah.
So
we're not going to give up. It's like Rocky 5.
Yes, and we have it on the calendar where it is on our calendar that we record every Monday. At a certain time, so I guess we're officially official.
Well, thank you for those who joined us.
Yeah, thank you for podcast number 2, and we were talking earlier before we came on about how just about every other post you get on LinkedIn is AI generated by something, and really not human.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the algo and what you were just telling me off the air, as the radio people say, about the human element and the AI content and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's so it's interesting. There's this thing called the dead internet theory. I don't know if anybody's ever heard it. That basically after 2018 and now more than ever that the internet's about 90% of bots talking to each other, and it's really nothing. It's just, AI talking to AI, referring it to AI. But obviously there's real people that are engaging in social media. But so I've had a couple of LinkedIn posts lately that have gone, I guess, what people in the biz call viral. And it really was just me just talking about how I can tell what AI is right away, or I can tell what is not and what value is presented by certain things. And I just talked about it, and apparently it's very interesting to quite a few people.
How many? Yeah, tell everybody how many impressions you got.
One of the posts got 400 something thousand, and the one I shared today is almost it's like 250,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if we want to turn this into a conspiracy podcast, back to the dead internet theory, I'm all about that. So maybe we mix in some conspiracy theories here and there.
All right. And so just so everybody knows, I in no way, shape, or form want to suicide myself. I'm just letting that be known right now. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay. Yeah, the conspiracy theory part of me. Yeah, I don't know, man. I used to think that I could kind of tweak it here and there and know what to post, and I'm what I know is this: the algo is not rewarding AI generated content. It somehow knows what it is. Obviously, there's some way to find out, but there is definitely software where they know what's AI generated, and it doesn't resonate.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because lately I've been testing that with some of the AI generated images. Have you noticed that they get a little badge that says, this is an AI image? Have you noticed that, Eric?
I have noticed that. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I've been doing to try to combat that, to see if there's any differences, if I do create an AI generated image, which is not often, sometimes I'll either create an AI generated image and then edit it a little bit in Canva, and then it's no longer going to be badged, but I'll take a snippet of that image and then save it, then upload it so it doesn't have the AI badge. So I think that's one of the ways that LinkedIn and the algo are tracking is from those AI generated images. I don't know. It's just a guess. But.
No, I think you're right, and I think it knows. I mean, it's kind of like with LinkedIn. If you kind of, here's a valuable tip. If you're going to share a link on LinkedIn, do it in the comments, because they tamp that down way down if you share a link. No, one of the things that LinkedIn does is, if you guys don't know this, is if you post something and you have a link within your post, it tamps way down on the reach. Way down. So you always want to put it in the comments.
Yep. 100%. So on that note, and I think today we'll probably talk a lot about AI. It just seems to be, with your impressions, hot button topic. And even though we're not necessarily, in a tech space per se, but we, in med tech and in content creation, AI is everywhere, and we're on the forefront of it. We'll talk a little bit about that today, about AI and what we're going to be implementing in our next content crib. But first, I wanted to talk about something that you and I really were interested in was from our good friend Godfather Joseph Miller reposted Mark Cuban's interesting hot take here, and I want to I'll reread it and want to get your take, and then I'll give you my 2 cents too. Mark Cuban said, within the next 3 years, there'll be so much AI, in particular AI video, people won't know if what they see or hear is real, which will lead to an explosion of F2F, so face-to-face engagement, events, and jobs. Those that were in the office will be in the field. Call it the Milli Vanilli effect. Your take, Eric.
I don't really like to agree with Mark Cuban on a lot of stuff, but this time I
Yeah.
totally agree with him. And our content crib meeting is a perfect example of it. I mean, we had kind of thought about like, well, maybe we'll do this and like give it a virtual event or maybe a virtual side to it. And resoundingly, people were like, no. We want to do a face to face, everybody get together, real human, like look each other in the eye type meeting, which I think is great. But I don't know, it's like you get told by people, oh, well, everything, if you do this virtually and if you do that virtually, it's just like you're sitting in the same room, and it's just not, and you're just 100% not. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think in this day and age, you need to start thinking about your future in terms of either, and for to backtrack a little bit for those of you that may be listening that don't really know exactly what Content Crib is and what we do, Virtual Sales RX and Position Content Studio. It is an event 2 to 3 times per year. We're shooting for two times a year. We typically do it that way, where we have medtech leaders, physicians, content creators, healthcare salespeople get together, and we go over different strategies. We have different speakers, and our next one's going to be a little bit more prescriptive. Um, but in where I'm going with that is we're trying to be on the forefront of communication, technology, and strategies in terms of content creation, sales enablement. And why we want to talk about this is, and why it's important is the face to face that we're doing at the Content Crib that Eric mentioned, I think is going to translate extremely well in terms of ramping up your communication for face to face, because I think some people are lagging behind. And not only that, technology. So the strategy play, yes, I think definitely ramping up your communication, getting better at in technology overall and AI. And I think those 2 things are going to be crucial, whether you're a doctor or a healthcare marketer or a salesperson.
Oh, totally. And I think, just the utilization of personalized video is just going to be twice what it was. And I mean, anyway, I'm just using arbitrary figures here, but it's the world of AI bots calling you on the phone and or talking to you when you call in about something is going to permeate everywhere. I mean, you were just at a conference, Chris, where they talked about it at
Yep.
length. So
Yep.
yeah, tell we talked about it last podcast, but where do you think that all goes? Because I think it's going that way for certain things, and it gives us a wonderful reason why we need to be utilizing personalized video. But so, what are your thoughts? Which way does it go?
Yeah, and it's kind of scary. I was seeing a new app that's out there that is doing these personalized videos that are starting to look, or excuse me, AI videos that are starting to look realer and realer. And that's kind of scary because I want to know the videos that I'm getting are actually from a human. So I'm wondering if that, there'll be some intervention and whatnot of like deep fakes, and you won't be able to use all these avatar videos to send to people, or at least they'll be labeled as such. I think that would be super important. And I think it's going to go that way eventually. But, I think personalized videos, whether you're a physician or a salesperson and your video prospecting or patient communication, it's almost, it's not optional anymore. You need to be doing it, and you need to be doing a lot of it. And at the very least, you don't need to do personalized, custom videos every day for your patients or your prospects. Start creating a library of evergreen things you can send out to people to keep that communication and keep that pipeline going. That's kind of where it's going.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think and I could be totally wrong with this, but it's kind of like how they do the movie rating system, G, PG, R. I think that's what's going to happen with AI created things, because it's going to have to, something's going to have to happen. So until that happens, though, your best bet and to have your message resonate and be sent is do a live personalized video yourself. Whatever it is, just hit record and send it.
Yep.
And
So
go ahead.
no, keep going.
I know that the last final thing is that, we talk to people all the time, especially when we're talking about personalized video with virtual sales RX, like, oh man, I'm just not, I don't think I'm going to want to do that. The whole world, because of AI, is going to be going to us talking to prospects or sharing value through video. So
Yep.
I get it. If you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it. But, and I say this to everybody, like every one of us listening to this podcast right now, the millions listening to this podcast right now, you are a media company. You are a media company. You have to be a media company. If you're in any walk of life, you have to be. So once you embrace that, it gets real easy, real quick.
Yeah, media company, and use these AI tools, use the Claudes, the chats, the Perplexities to brainstorm video scripts, things that you want to talk about, and then use your phone to record that, or use your webcam. It's never been easier to create content, and it's never been easier to start a business. It's just going to take a little bit, I think, stepping out of your comfort zone, and it definitely, that's what I had to do. I mean, I I was scared to death to start putting my voice out there. And I think I'm sure that probably was you too at one point. And people don't believe it when you say it. And then, you know, your content starts resonating with people, starts resonating with some important people that you're trying to connect with. And all of a sudden you're creating a new pipeline of customers through social selling, which is definitely something I want to talk about in this podcast too, because I think there's a lot of confusion about that. But I wanted to ask you
Oh,
a
yeah.
question on what you thought about this, because I think this is kind of a little bit relevant too. Is as a salesperson, and in our audience, to whoever's listening, I'm hoping that there's salespeople, physicians, marketers, leaders, but sales is an important skill for all of that, right? Everybody's selling something, they may not just know it, but the old sales formula, I think, was about skill set, right? You're going to double down on your skill set and get better and better to be a communicator and salesperson. Now I feel like you need to do that. Plus, you need to learn how to get attention because there's so much content that people are watching or getting dragged in every which direction. You think reps who win today are the ones who not only can sell, but also create content and build trust at scale through video and content creation. What do you think about that?
Totally. Yeah, I had this conversation earlier. I was on someone else's podcast this morning, and I talked about
Oh,
that exact.
fancy.
Yeah,
Very
well,
cool.
I had to bring that up. So
Trade.
millions and millions of people hear this. And no, I had, I talked about this because there's so many, the old adage was, 7 or 8 touches before you get the opportunity to even ask for the business. I think it's more like going to be over 20 now, because every single time you see somebody, what do you see? Them just sitting there on a bench. They've got this thing in their hand and they're looking.
Yep.
And so they're so distracted, and it is what it is until, anyway, that's my whole, besides dead internet theory, I'm also going to go out on a limb right now. 30 years from now, when you hear this, the cell phone will be just like smoking. They'll have to regulate that.
Oh.
Write that down.
All right,
So,
yeah, written down.
yeah.
What podcast were you on this morning?
It was a gentleman by the name of John Wilson. He just started his podcast up, and he talks to those who are independent sales representatives and things of that nature. And so we
Oh,
talked
cool.
a lot about a lot of different whether people get into the distributor space or independent sales rep space.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
and I wanted to get an opinion on, because we've been talking about marketers and salespeople, but also on the doctor side. So you're really dialed into physician content creation and enablement. There's a lot of confusion about what is the best route to take, or what is the best spot for a doctor provider to get going. And I was talking to a doctor about this a couple days ago, and her first thought process was, oh, I see all these Instagram doctors, and they're doing all these in-office procedures, and then they're doing some funny videos. I do think that works with some specialties, but what do you think about that?
So here's my advice about that. So I went over to Italy with ophthalmopreneurs, and it was a large conference, and there was 200 plus ophthalmologists there, and they let me get up on stage and talk about content creation and personalized video. And I think instead of getting on, if you're a doctor, if you're a physician and getting on TikTok or Instagram and dancing around, you can do that, and that's fine. But what you're passionate about is making sure that your patient doesn't have fear when they walk into your office. So why doesn't your content or your personalized video, your first one is just take your phone and walk them around your office from the front door, and this is what you're going to do next, and this is what you're going to do next on your initial visit. And I'm so excited I'm going to be able to see you. And if you have any question, one of those type videos that you just show them the interior of the office. The number one reason why so many patients don't want to come in and see their physician is because of fear. So if you relieve that fear by creating a personalized video piece of content, and it's an evergreen thing where you just send it out to your patients, watch and see your referrals go through the roof. I'm telling you, we have so much evidence of that it is a force multiplier like you've never seen before.
Yeah, and I think that providers and doctors can make three videos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, one being fear driven, walk through the office, talk about what's going on. I think the next would be very similar, but patient follow-up visit, like what the next appointment looks like, what the process is for the patient to get their labs done or review their first appointment. And then third, I think would be just a check-in video. And I think if a provider just made three evergreen videos that aren't custom to each patient, but just says, hey, I'm Dr. Anderson. I wanted to check in since our last appointment. I'm in the middle of reviewing your lab in the patient portal. You'll see your lab probably in the next couple of days, and then my recommendations on next steps of therapy, and I'll give you a call to review that. I think that goes a long way, and the patients won't even realize that it isn't a custom video to them. They're gonna be like, wow, I've never had this treat. The bar is so low in primary care medicine, and no offense to any primary, it's just the way the system is. To get that kind of white glove treatment without that much effort of a doctor to do and to create those videos, I think is a huge step. And just starting the content creation pathway for a doctor. And then they can retool that and use it to post, right?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can use that and cut it up and put it out on social media platforms and have, someone do that for you. But I think I had the first one I talked about, the other two video options that you talked about, those are key, man. Those are huge. And we have physicians that we know that do that now, and man, they are just the benefits of those. And, the story that I always tell, and I'll tell it real shortly in a short version here, is the, group of people at a soccer game and gets a personalized video from their surgeon from a, pre-surgery visit. Hey, have you guys ever gotten a video like from your doctor like this? And it's like, no, I never have. This is incredible. They share it, and all of a sudden there's 3 or 4 referrals. I mean, that's a true story. It happened. And you're not going to get that. You might, but I don't think you're going to get that if you're kind of dancing out in the parking lot, on TikTok. That's just my personal opinion, but maybe you can. But I think any of the chance that you get to share the human side of a physician also, and the why of what you do, or the why behind, why you have this appointment and why you do this, huge. I mean, it's just something that you can't put a price tag on as far as just marketing, A, and B, having your patients feel comfortable when they walk in the front door.
Yeah, and I also wanted to say, the TikTok and Instagram, those things do work. They work for certain
Hmm.
specialties, and they're not most of those specialties aren't in our tribe of people that we work with clientele or work with in Content Crib. The providers and surgeons and physicians that are in our sphere, they're more specialized surgery, a little bit more complex. You can mix in a little bit of that, but most of those medical spas and aesthetic offices are a little bit more casual and
Hmm.
attracting a different clientele. So I think there's just a different tactical way to do things with provider. But I wanted to pivot quickly and ask you a question.
Yep.
And this one might be a little on the spot, but if because I think that the videos is a good way to start, but I think that the doctors or even other healthcare professionals that are listening to this are like, well, okay, so that's going direct to my patients, or I can imagine, videos like that going direct to my prospects. But I need to know about creating my voice and my brand from the start. So if you were to grow from 0 to 10,000 followers, and you're well over that, if you had to do it from 0 to 10,000 in a niche, whether it's a doctor or you can pick, or a healthcare salesperson or distributor, we have a lot of distributors that attend Content Crib in our tribe. If you were to start on LinkedIn or social media of your choice, how would you like make a quick game plan to 6 to 12 months out? How would you start doing that?
Yeah,
What kind
great
of commitment?
question. I would I would commit to posting as many times per week as you are comfortable with. I'm not the guy who goes post every day or you're never going to be anything, or post
Yeah,
3 times a day. Post as many times as you're comfortable with, but stick to it. If you say you're going to do it twice a week, do it twice a week, and say I'm going to do this for a year, and do it.
yeah,
And then I would literally, wherever the number one place where you like to walk, or what you like to do, or what is personally exciting to you, I would go to that place and I would hit record, and I would just share a hey, this is who I am and this is what I do and this is why I do it. And you can shoot that video and you can utilize that to make different reels or whatever you want to do as far as LinkedIn goes. You can have different videos, you can cut it from that, or just every time you go out, share a video from where that location of what you want
yeah,
to do, and just commit to it. Just, and everybody who's listening to this right now, and you're probably going to do a little bit of commit to it for a year. Commit to it for a year that you're going to do it, and then come back in a year. Because listen, I mean, doing a video or two per week, and then posting it on LinkedIn, you're literally talking about 15 minutes per week. I think everybody could spare 15 minutes per week. I'll tell you, I'll make you a deal. Don't scroll and watch Instagram reels for don't do that for the 1 hour a week that you usually do it, and you're all going to be
yeah,
all set.
exactly. I think that's a great plan, and I'll tell you, I'm living proof of someone that posted once or twice a week over the last 3 years, and then last year decided right around now, about 13 months ago, that I was gonna post every day and plan it out. You don't have to do that, and like you said, you don't have to do that. I think making a commitment, saying that I'm gonna do 2 to 3 days a week or 2 days a week is fine.
Yep.
I decided to, because I had written down so much, and I just was a little nervous to start sharing a lot of things I wanted to talk about. I just let it rip. And the way I did it was, yes, I made the commitment. And one important line that stuck with me forever, I heard this from one of my mentors, was if you have a goal and something that you want to do you want to do it, or are you committed? And
That's
that
great.
like sticks with me forever. I'm like, okay, do I want it? And you said this, commitment. I asked myself that question. I said, yes, I am committed. I want to do this. And over the last year, I have to say, I mean, it's been kind of a life-changing year overall. I'll backtrack for a second and tell you what I decided to do, but I picked 5 things that I really like to talk about. And the 5 things were mindset and growth, sales enablement, video selling, what I do in terms of compounding pharmaceuticals. So talk about different therapies. And I guess it's 5. No, I mean, there's a mix of those. So mindset and growth are kind of mixed, but
Hmm.
And then I break down those buckets over the course of a week. And I knew that people wanted to hear kind of more about the sales enablement things I want to, tips and tricks like midweek, early week. So I post around them. Mindset and growth, usually like Monday, Fridays, people are kind of easing in or they're easing out. And then more the casual. Oh yeah, the fifth thing was personal interpersonal relationships. My wife and I, what we like to do, or different hobbies and whatnot on the weekends. And I just committed to that and I wrote about it. And like you said, I put my phone down on Instagram and I picked an hour or two every week and just started ripping down posts on a Google Doc about those buckets and just started, compiling those things and used an app called Authored Up to then schedule those things. So I removed the friction, right? Remove the
Yeah.
friction from posting, which is I got to find time to post, I got to find time to write, I got to find time to record a video, and I do it in chunks because it was important to me. I wanted to make that commitment. And over the last year, I've gone from 6,000 to almost 10,000 followers on LinkedIn. I've been mentioned in a book by my favorite sales author, Justin Michael. Like some unbelievable thing, like very humbling things that I've never thought would happen. I've met different authors of other books that I've liked to read that reach out to me after I've given book reviews on them that live in the area. I've met amazing people in real life, which has been just a whole incredible thing that we also do with Content Crib. And grown my business overall. I picked up providers I never would have met from writing about compounded therapies. I've helped people use personalized videos in the sales process and learn about what they do at their work and just expanded my network exponentially. And it's been super rewarding. So, but there was fear at the beginning of that, right? There's that
Sure.
fear of wanting to post or letting it rip or getting too personal about things and still working through that. You just got to squash it because you care way more about yourself than anybody else cares about you. They got their own problems. So if you want to put your voice out there, we do care. We want to hear it. But in terms of that little, fear voice in your head, you gotta kind of gotta step on.
Yeah, and it's and every single person, and that's great. I mean, and I, and to commend you, Chris. You're. I mean, I look forward to when your posts come out because I learn. I receive value and
Yeah, they're not all great, but at least they let it rip, right? So.
that you let it rip. No, they're great. I mean, and I learn things when I learn. I read your content. I'm not just telling you because we're doing this podcast because my time, just like everybody else, is like yours is very, short that I have and things I needed to do. But I'm of the opinion. Well, I'm not of the opinion. I just know everybody is scared when they start. Everybody goes, oh, nobody's going to read this. Nobody's going to, that's the little thing, on your shoulder that says, you're not. Why would anybody want to hear this from you? Well, they do. I mean, we
Yep.
can pick any content creator out there that you can think of that you're like, that person has that many followers. Why do they want to listen to what they do? So just go post. It's hit
Yeah, and those
record.
friends that maybe make fun of you for posting, you're gonna make new, better friends. So those and they're the friend people that made fun of you for posting, they're gonna in a year they're gonna be like, man, I should have done that. I should have did that. I have a ton I could talk about in software finance products, and I'm sure I got a ton of key clients, but I'm just too scared to post. Yeah,
Well, I tell this story. I post about this every so often. That I had a buddy of mine who called me. He's like, dude, why are you like constantly on LinkedIn and doing your stupid stuff and jumping around in like that red hat? And man, it looks like you're just like, I don't know how does that work for your business? I really think it's probably a waste of your time. I never told him one time that I was doing any of that. I never
yeah,
once told him that I was that, or I
yeah.
never once had a conversation with him. He called me and said that to me. So I guess it's working. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's the fastest way to get in a room of 600 to 1,000 people right off the bat. There's no other way you can do it
Nope.
for essentially free.
Yep. And like they say, 7 or 8 times, touches. You can make touch after touch, pardon me, with real value and not something where you're forcing information down their throat. And for those of you who like to knock on doors and ride across town and bring people lunch, how's that working for you?
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're close on time, and I did promise that we would mention a quick tease on AI technology that's going to be unveiled to each participant in Content Group. I want to touch on that last before we wrap up.
Yeah, well, I'll let you tackle it if you want to do it, or I can tackle it.
Yeah,
You
sure.
Want.
Yeah. So the next Content Crib, October, Bentonville, just about sold out. Amazing. Mostly alumni that are coming back. It's incredible. We're really excited about that. Bentonville, sneaky, cool, amazing place, especially in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so it's going to be an extremely prescriptive weekend with a dialed-in handbook directly planned to each attendee's business model and what their goal is trying to accomplish. And we're also going to augment that with a customized AI agent to help you with efficiency. Whatever that you do is going to be tailored to what you need. When you take that agent with you, and then it's a part of your gift for the weekend.
It is your own personal business consultant that you don't have to wait on to join you on calls or join you on Zoom calls or any of that. You give them the information and you get the information you're looking for. So it's exciting. Him or her. You are correct. And I can tell you this, it's just wait, you need to come to Content Crib because it's going to be pretty cool. We're working on it right now. A lot of cool stuff happening.
We'll be talking about it a lot, so
yeah.
Good episode.
Yeah.
This is a fun one, Eric.
All right. We are now in the top 20% of podcast shows out there. So we'll next
Just
week.
Talking into the ether. Nobody's listening. Hopefully we got a couple.
Well, they're definitely not listening right now because we're just recording, but hopefully they will in the future. But podcast number 3 will be recorded next week.
Have a good night.
All right. See ya.